Hi,
Hello.
my name is Laurie,
Hi,
and
Laurie.
these questions are helping me. The answers are, I should say, the answers are helping me, um, because my first sort of aha moment, and I've only been doing this for a year, and listening to you and Dean Slider in Santa Monica, but my first aha moment was when I realized that it's like that black and white silhouette picture where there's an old lady with a nose and a scarf, and you look at it from a different angle, and it's a pretty young woman with a bonnet on. Do you know that black and white photo? And I figured that's sort of what happens to me. I'm either sort of in my ego, or I can back away and be aware that I'm aware.
No, but your analogy is very nice because it's not two images. You're not going from one image to another. You're always looking at the same image that appears different ways depending on how you look at it. It's the same thing. It's not sorrow or happiness. It's sorrow and happiness are the same thing. Sorrow is just the veiling of happiness. So you're right. It's always the same experience. It's not two different experiences. It's a very nice analogy, that, yes.
And so then what happens is I ask myself, and as I go about life, and are you aware you're aware? I have those moments when I can ask myself, when I'm not engaged in something and I'm driving the car from home to work or something, are you aware that you're aware? But I guess for me it's still all an effort, not just to bring myself to, are you aware that you're aware? That's a thought. You know, we treat thoughts as objects, but this is a thought I have to think, which is, are you aware that you're aware? And then even to stay there is a bit of an effort for me. So this thing about being,
Okay.
effortlessly being, I don't have that experience.
All right. So what happens when you ask yourself the question, are you aware that you are aware? Or an easier question, just ask yourself the question, are you aware of being? What happens then? You're quite right, that's a thought. You ask yourself the question, am I aware of being? What happens next?
I think I stay aware of being for a very short amount of time if I can stay thinking about it.
No, but if you're thinking about it, you're aware of thinking, you're not aware of being.
Well, there's the problem, I think.
Well, so what's the answer to the question, are you aware of being?
Yes.
Well, if in between my question, are you aware of being, and your answer, yes, there was only the awareness of thinking, then you wouldn't have answered yes to the question.
Really?
Yeah. Because in between my question and your answer, you would not have been aware of being, you would have been aware of thinking. But you answered yes to the question. So there must have been a gap between my thought, are you aware of being, and your thought, yes. There must have been a gap in which you were aware of being, not thinking. Otherwise, you would not have answered yes to the question.
Okay.
So you must have been aware of being, albeit momentarily, in between those two thoughts.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't really hurt. Hurt's not the right word, but sometimes it feels like it's such an effort to come back from awareness, and like you said, that's the thinking part, is when I'm trying to come back.
Are you aware now?
Yeah.
How much effort was required for you to answer yes, to have the experience from which you answered yes? It didn't seem as if you made a lot of effort. I just asked you the question, there was a momentary pause, and you said yes. Or did you make a lot of effort to be aware of being aware in that moment? No, it was just obvious.
Okay.
It required absolutely no effort at all. You heard the question, are you aware? Brief pause, yes. You made no effort at all in that pause. On the contrary, it was because all your efforts came to an end that being aware shone in your experience. You were no longer aware of efforting, you were aware of being.
I guess it just feels like an effort to be aware of being. It feels like an effort.
Being aware of being is the only experience there is, which is of course not an objective experience, that requires no effort. It's the only experience there is that is effortless, the awareness of being. The awareness of being is the experience that shines when all efforting comes to an end. It's what remains when all efforts cease.
I might be making this harder than it is.
Yeah. Yes, you're. I think you're conceiving of being aware or being as some extraordinary, marvelous, mystical, spiritual experience that you have to make a great effort to achieve or acquire or recognize. And no, awareness of being is the simplest, I mean this literally, the simplest experience there is. It's the most fundamental experience there is. We have the experience of being continually. We are never for a moment not aware of being. Only nearly all the time, our awareness of being is mixed with the content of our experience. And that's why everybody, all 8 billion of us, have the experience of being or being myself. But not everybody knows their self clearly, because their sense of their self, their sense of their being, the awareness of being is mixed with their experience, with their thoughts and feelings. But everybody has the experience of being 24/7. All 8, not just those of us that are interested in these matters, all 8 billion of us, and all 8 trillion of us, if we include all the animals, have the experience of being constantly. But in the vast majority of cases, our awareness of being, that is, our knowledge of ourself, is mixed with the content of experience, and therefore we don't know ourselves clearly. We know ourselves dimly, partially. And it is this partial self-knowledge that is responsible for the veiling of peace and happiness, which are our nature. Really, the feeling of being, it's the most intimate, obvious, simple experience, non-experience that there is. Yes, you're looking.
I think you nailed it. I'm making it more than
you're
it
looking
is.
for something spiritual. There's absolutely nothing spiritual about what we speak of here.
Thank you. Yeah, I get that. Thank you.